How are you
Yeah,
doing today?
very well, thank you. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm doing very well too. Thank you. Thank you
Awesome.
so much for granting our request. Thank you so much for deciding to do this.
You're welcome.
We, yes, we do not take it for granted.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
yes.
for having
So,
me.
yes. You're welcome. So, I think we're 10 minutes behind schedule, so I will just dive right into the discussion. So, guys, I would be reading Amara's profile, a very rich, I must say. So, Amarachi Igwekalu is a development consultant uh, and award-winning early childhood development advocate with over 7 years experience in development sector. She is the founder and CEO Thriving Up Initiative, a non-profit working to save newborn lives by providing a holistic approach to ensuring the health, well-being and development of newborns and infants in underserved communities. Amachi has worked with international, local financial institutions, including the US Embassy, Vitamin Angels International, SCC Nigeria Limited, JCI, and Access Bank to implement high impact interventions that have saved thousands of newborn lives and improved their health outcomes. She is the ED I Thrive I Thrive Network, a social impact strategy firm where she equips change makers to lead social change and sustainably impact their communities and ultimately Africa, as well as provide a state of the art co-working space where change makers can come to innovate, network, and collaborate. She has been featured on several reputable TV, radio, and online platforms, including Arise TV, Nigeria Info, Leading Ladies Africa, and Eloy Awards. She is trained as an industrial chemist and have a background in civic engagement from the University of Georgia, Athens, USA. She is a fellow of the President Obama Yali RLC 2017, recipient of NYC FCT Honorary Award 2018, and the recipient of the prestigious U.S. Embassy Ambassadorial Grant Award 2018. In 2020, she was selected by the US government as one of Africa's most promising young leaders and a Mandela Washington Fellow. Amarachi has spoken and hosted panels at international and local conferences and local conferences. Sorry, I got distracted by that. Local conferences and is an active member of the International Leadership Association. In 2022, she was named one of the top 60 women in development in Africa by Donors for Africa and one of Africa's 50 rising social impact transformers by Gemstone in 2021. She was one of the 16 Nigerians selected by the US Department of State in 2022 to participate in the Mandela Washington Fellowship Alumni Enrichment Institute in Washington, D.C. and Drexel University, Philadelphia. Amachi is passionately driven to social change making and believes that individuals, regardless of their age, deserve to thrive and be equipped to impact their society. Help me make welcome Marachi, everybody. Thank you so much, sis, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yes. So let's begin.
Okay.
Yeah. So, my first question will be this. So, the topic of today is turning your ideas into thriving ventures with proven strategy. And from your profile, and even what I know before now, I know you have like two different enterprises that have been doing well so far.
Yes.
Yes. So with this knowledge, because I know, I mean, it's not easy to run even a single enterprise, let alone two. So that's why I actually chose you for this particular topic to be our guest speaker. So then, my first question is this: how did you conceive the idea of your NGO and I Thrive network? Like, what were the events that happened that put the ideas in your mind?
Hmm. Okay, awesome. Thank you again for having me. The room is quiet. Can everybody just unmute and say just hi? Just hi. Let me know that people are in the room.
Okay, guys.
Like just say hi and then we can proceed.
Okay, so everyone, please unmute, say hi, say hello, so we know
Hello.
that.
Ah,
Hello, good evening. Yes.
Hello. Good
Hi,
evening.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you. Exactly. Now I feel okay, thank you guys so much. I feel you now. I feel your presence. I feel
Yes,
I'm
yes,
not just
yes.
seeing circles. People are here. Okay, so it's funny because I have a belief around ideas that I have
Mm,
seen play out multiple times in my journey in creating impact and sustainable impact across, in my country and in my community. I've seen the same scenario play out, right? And it is the belief that every change maker, every creator starts out first by trying to solve a problem for themselves that eventually they solve that problem for themselves and then develop a framework, right? For those who want to take it further, right? They see a pathway in the fact that I had this challenge, I overcame it, and now I want to show other people how to overcome this thing that I have overcome. And if you look at 90% of the people that are creating value for us, that are creating products that we are engaging and interacting with, you would see that it was first them trying to solve a problem for themselves, right? And eventually discovering something that works and then blowing it up into something huge. We've seen it in so many creators, so many people that we admire, so many major change makers, right? We'll see that it was them really doing this thing for themselves and seeing that, oh, this has worked, right? And then it blows up. It was the same thing that applied to me, and that's why I always say that everyone has a unique space and a unique field and a unique sector that you are designed naturally to thrive in, right? And the universe will give you those opportunities. They will give you those. It will come. It will first come to you as challenges that you overcome, right? If we look at what we call the hero's journey, it's always someone that encountered a challenge and then you overcame that challenge and you saw a framework that worked. So this worked for me when I wanted to start my nonprofit, right? It was me. It was a challenge that I had when I got married really, 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 really early in my very early 20s, right? Very early 20s, before I even turned 23. I just graduated from school and I got married. And then I started to think, and then I took in 3 months after, my wedding, and I knew next to nothing about caring for babies. I knew next to nothing about pregnancy, nothing, absolutely nothing. I just knew that people get pregnant and they have children, right? So being the type of person that I was, who is very, very forward thinking, right? I started to prepare myself for the whole experience of pregnancy and childbirth, and afterwards caring for the newborn. And it was in the process of that preparation, I went into deep research. I started to research, I just wanted to empower myself with all the information that I needed. And funny enough, or should I say sadly, this information wasn't available because all the information that was available at the time were nurses trying to prepare you for a safe pregnancy, right? And then after the pregnancy, what next? What happens with the baby? Like, I'm going to have this baby. What do I do? And every single time I went to the hospital, every single antenatal session were all centered around pregnancy, pregnancy, pregnancy. And then I
Mm.
got to the 8 months, and I was like, okay, this is 8 months. How do we move on? I'm going to have this baby, right? And when that information wasn't coming, I went on a personal research myself. And it was in the course of this research that I realized that Nigeria's infant mortality rate was high. Babies were dying. Mothers did not have access to the information, the resources, and the skills that they needed, to continue to ensure the health and well-being of their babies. There was just so much, and this was just me trying to solve my own problem and then stumbling into this heavy, information and data. So that became totally unacceptable to me. So it was in the course of that research that I just developed an immense passion for babies, immense passion for newborns. I'm like, babies don't have to die. They don't have to be dying. We can end preventable newborn deaths, right? And with all the knowledge that I had, I found myself also helping people. So I would meet a mom who has a baby, and I'm telling her, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. At some point, my friends even started calling me, like, Marachi, my baby is stooling. What should I do? I'm like, hey, wait, I'm not a doctor. This is just this is just research that I've researched. And people will be calling me, right? And I realized that every time I told somebody what to do, it was always successful. They did it
Wow.
and it worked. They did it and it worked. They did it and it worked. And I said, you know what? I want to teach more women this thing that I know. I want to tell more women this thing that I know. I want to teach them how they can, ensure the health and well-being of their babies. And that's how my nonprofit was born, because I took a step. I went to a hospital. I wrote to them seeking their approval to teach. Okay, I thought to myself, where will I find these people that need this information, right? And the first place to find them was in clusters, and that was in hospitals. So I said, okay, I'm going to start from hospitals and start talking to them, right? And that's how I wrote to a hospital. And as you know, to my greatest surprise, they approved, because I wasn't even expecting them to approve it.
Yeah.
Even
I
expecting them
understand
to
that.
approve it, right? Because I hadn't even started. I just wrote to them like I was a full-blown non-profit. At the time, I wasn't even registered. I just had a name, and I knew that this was what I wanted to do, to educate mothers on, best practices for newborn care. And that's how I wrote to them. I said, we're an NGO, and this is what we do. So they approved it. They gave me a date, gave me a time, assembled all the women. I was like, da da da, this is it.
It's time.
So because I was so young, right? I had to call an aunt to go with me and do the introduction, because I was just imagining like these are grown women and women that are having babies,
Mm.
and then you come and you are looking so young and this, and you're,
Tiny.
do you understand? So
Yeah.
I came with my aunt, and she did the introduction, and she said, don't look at her like this. So she has a daughter, or her daughter is almost 2 years or 3 years. So she's going to talk
Uh,
to you. So that was how she did that first introduction. And I held that session. There were over 40 women there. And it was an awesome session. So many questions, so many answers. And I was answering all their questions. You understand?
oh,
Even the nurses that were there were like, wow, do you get? And it was just basically research, right? And that's how we kicked off. After that, I went to so many other primary healthcare centers. I discovered what other, aspects of the problem were, because you want to do a holistic research to understand what is the root cause analysis, right? What we call root cause analysis, like what is the actual cause of this problem, and where in this problem, what part of this problem do I want to focus on, right? So the problem would definitely have different facets of it, and then based on your experience, based on your research, based on your skills, you can decide this is where I want to come in, right? And so based on my own experience, I wanted to come in development and survival, right, of newborns, and that's how I
okay.
came in. And in the course of that, we continue to research and discover several ways of solving the problem. So from just educating mothers, which was the first way we started, we now started building healthcare centers, because we now understood that These babies even need to survive for it, because me, my problem was how to ensure development. That was my own issue, right? But even before the babies even develop, they have to be born. The delivery has to be safe. They have to be born alive. And we realized that
Hmm.
in communities there were no healthcare centers. You understand? So we started to build healthcare centers in underserved communities. We started to reach out to stakeholders and all that to say support us. We want to build healthcare centers, and we started to build. Along the line, we realized that even after building healthcare centers, you need qualified doctors, you need skilled healthcare workers who can deliver skilled care to ensure that newborns are safe. And then that was how our project that is called Not Another Number campaign, which is focused on training health workers, was born. So along the line, you don't have to have it all figured out at the beginning. You just want to be clear on exactly where you come in. And then along the line, you continue to evolve, continue to innovate, and make sure that you're consistently solving the problem. So that was for my non-profit. And then for my business, which is I Thrive Network, which is first of all a consulting firm, before it became a co-working space. It was still me, right? Because I was doing something phenomenal with the nonprofit. I always needed a space to research. I continued to, because if you're going to be a forward-thinking leader or change maker, research has to be like your at your tips. You have to keep
Absolutely.
you have to keep reading up and measuring up with global best practices. What is the international community saying, and how can you contextualize it in your own community and all of that. So research is a key thing. So I was always looking for where to sit down and just work. I have kids, and if they're not saying, "Mommy, where's my cup? Mommy, I did this. Mommy, this person beats me. Mommy is scratching my nose," all those kind of things, and it's difficult to focus.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was always looking for a co-working space, and I stay in Kubwa, one of the suburbs in Abuja, right? And every time I have to work, I have to go all the way to town, to look for a co-working space where I can get internet and just quieting down and do great work, right? And at some point in 2023, I said, you know what? I don't have to do this. Like, I'm going to start the co-working space in Kubwa,
Hmm.
right? And that idea occurred to me. I played around with it, shared it with my husband, and we just, how ideas come to you, and you're like, nice to do. This is a nice to do.
To do, yes, I get it.
Yeah, and you don't pay attention to it, right? One day, I was so, it got to me. I had dropped my kids off in school, and the next day was to go and work, and I was thinking, I need a space. You know what I did? I drove around Kubo. I started to look for a space that I could rent. That was the first step that I took.
Hmm.
And in the course of that, I found a space, something that worked for, what I envisioned. That's another thing. I call it discerning the energy of your idea, right? I could envision what I wanted. This wasn't a non-profit. This was a business that you would some way describe as luxury, but not
Hmm.
necessarily luxury, but it was for high level individuals. That was what I wanted. People who are forward thinking at the peak of who understand, innovation. I wanted to create a space for them where they can come in and work just like what I was looking for. So when I
Hmm.
found a space that works like that, I started to develop it from the drawing of the plans. I told them I want high seats here, I want low seats here. I was thinking of the ideal change maker, the ideal innovator. What environment will work for them, right? That's another thing. You want to keep who you're creating value for, right? Once you have an idea, you want to be clear on who this value is for. Once you understand them, then you understand their unique identities, you understand their unique preferences, you understand their motivations. Being an innovator myself and a change maker, I know what an ideal innovator is looking for, right? You
Hmm.
don't want a busy place. You don't want even the colors have to be aesthetically pleasing. Do you understand? So all of those were in my head as I designed the space, right? And immediately we launched, we have never had a time that we opened our doors and we didn't have forward thinking brilliant people coming in. And of course we made money, thankfully. So that's how the business was launched. It was me again trying to solve my own problem, and doing some research and knowing who my persona, who my beneficiary was going to be, perfectly understanding who I was creating the value for, and knowing how to design it. That's why when they walk in, they don't go. They keep coming back and coming back and coming back, and even being the ones telling people about it, because I perfectly understood who I was creating for and shaped it that way. Our lights at iTribe doesn't blink, like it doesn't go off, and it's not like we have it all. We was very intentional. It's a very intentional act that the light. We have three different power supplies. We have solar, we have generator, we have NEPA. The light cannot go off. It is a value that we have. That's why when you're creating, also you write out what are your values, what are your non-negotiables, right? And you find out that when we see major organizations and their core values, you would see that the core values can be intertwined to the values of the creator or the owner or whoever it is. You will see that the things they hold dear will also reflect in the enterprises that they build. So for me, I wanted steady supply of electricity and wanted a cool environment, so even our AC doesn't go off too. It is on. Just everything to make our ideal clients comfortable. We had that in mind when we were building, and that's why it worked as well. So I hope I've not given too much information or talked too much, but yeah, I guess I answered the question.
No, you did not talk too much. Like perfect. I love every like well articulated. No
Yeah.
meeting of words. Like that's absolutely impressive. I am
Thank
so
you.
impressed. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so good. Completely amazing, honestly. And I'm not even hyping. So
Mm.
honestly. So, my next question is this: funding. So, raising funds is actually a very important part of any business, whether it is a non-profit or it's a profit making venture. So, how were you able to raise funds? Now, when you eventually put structure into your NGO, how were you
Mhm.
able to raise funds there? Then for the consultancy firm slash
Yeah.
co-working space. How were you able to raise funds for that? For
Yeah.
them, yeah.
Okay. So I would say it's easier to raise funds for a non-profit than for a business. You can raise funds for a business actually, but a whole lot goes into it. While it's not like it's so easy to raise funds for a non-profit, but I'm saying it's easy because I kind of understand the essentials that go into raising funds, right? First of all, you need to understand who your stakeholders are for a non-profit, right? Who do their values align with your values, align with
Mm,
what you're trying to achieve, right? The more alignment there is in goals and objectives, the easier it is for an organization to fund you, right? Because they can see that if we fund you, by funding you, we are also achieving our own set goals and objectives, right? So it will be easier for them to fund you because they can see themselves in your goals and objectives. So that's why it's important when you're doing your research for stakeholders, you say, who can help me achieve this and who will be gaining by helping me? Because they have to gain from helping you. If they can see a clear value from supporting you, they would gladly do that. So the most important thing is alignment of core values, alignment of goals, alignment of objectives, right? Also, certain organizations want to see progression. They want to see skill, right? If you bring a new idea to them, the possibility of them funding it is very slim
mm,
compared to an idea that you say, I launched this idea in 2021, and with my own funding or to my in at my own capacity at the time that I launched it, I was able to reach 50 people. I was able to reach 55 people, right? But with the results that we got, and these were the number of people that were impacted, I need your support to do this same thing, but to reach 500 people, to reach 250 more people, right? So once there is the option of scaling your impact, any organization would be willing to fund that because now they have seen proof of concept. They have seen that you did this and it has worked, and all you want to do is to reach a wider audience or expand your impact. Once there is scale of impact, any organization will want to fund you. right? So if you are showing that I've done this before and it worked, now I need you to come in and help me to reach a wider audience, right? That was how it worked for me with the US Embassy. So when I was serving as a core member, I built a primary healthcare center for an underserved community, and I did that as my CDS, right?
Mm.
I did that as my CDS project as a core member to build a healthcare center for another. They had no access to healthcare whatsoever, no clinic,
Wow.
no hospital, no pharmacy, nothing. They had
Mm.
nothing. And I came into the community and I did a needs assessment, right? To say, okay, what is the problem that you guys have here? And one of the problems they said to me was that they lack a healthcare center. And being who I am, that's what I said, that ideas usually span from the core of who you are. I don't know if I've said that though, but they span from the core of who you are. So when they gave me all the problems that they had, the one that resonated the most with me was a healthcare center, because at the time I was serving, like I said, I got married very early. I had my baby very early. I hadn't even served. So my baby was like 11 months when I went for youth service. So I understood what childbirth was about and going through labor. And then I couldn't just imagine these women, right, going through labor and they don't have a healthcare center. They have to travel literally 20 kilometers to access healthcare. It was just impossible for me, was unacceptable for me. So I chose that and decided to build them that healthcare center after I prayed about it too. And I got the go ahead because it was a major project that I didn't just want to take, on my own, just up from my head. So I prayed about it, I got the go ahead, and I decided to build it. So what I did was I asked myself, who can help me build this healthcare center? And I wrote down construction companies, right?
Mm.
Then what I did was I went on Google and I researched all the construction companies in Abuja, wrote down their addresses, went to each of them one by one, prepared my
Wow.
proposal, what I needed, went to all of them. Some of them turned me back at the gate. Some of them did not even collect the proposal from me. Some of them said, who is this one? I made sure that I
Oh
went to
God.
all of them, right? Some of them just collected it at the gate. The security person just collected it and told me to be going. But I made sure
Mm.
that I was on my NYC uniform, right? For all of them.
Okay.
When I was wearing NY, I was wearing my complete core member
Like
uniform, like the one
5/5, or what do they call it?
I didn't even wear white t-shirt. I was the one that they wrote NYC
The
on it.
crested vest.
So, so that's how because I wanted
Oh God.
for them to see that I was a serious person and I needed so the construction company that helped me, right, when I got there I just told them I'm a core member, this is what I want to do, blah blah blah. So cutting the story short, one construction company called me back,
Wow.
and when they called me back, that was how they sponsored that project with 7.5 million naira, right?
Oh.
Because in this case now, I did not have proof of concept, but what I had was a strong case. Also, I leveraged on the fact that, and why they helped me was because I was findable. I was under the government. If you do
Mm.
that, I was under the government, so it was easy for them to find me because I was a common. But that's why I tell people, don't joke with your NYSC. Use it, use it, use it. That uniform is power. Use it very well, right? So I used that, and because I succeeded in that project, right? There was also the prayer component as well. I prayed and God gave me favor. In fact, after I
Yeah.
entered of the place and came out, the security man told me, that it was even when I entered inside that he remembered he shouldn't have let me in. I said, sorry, sir, I've entered.
Oh my God.
That was how that one happened. That they called me back and they decided to. And the person invited me for an interview, right? And when he invited me for the interview, he said, "Tell me about your project." Another thing is you must understand what you're trying to do.
Mm.
Understand the value that it creates, the value that it's going to provide. Also understand it in the context of national development, right? Don't limit your idea to this is what it can do. Why can it do that? And how is it going to contribute to national development in the long run? So don't ever think that your idea is too small. You must find it in the context of national development. So by the time I finished speaking with him, he was convinced, and then they were able to take up the project. Now 2 years later, after I did that, I wanted to build another one, right? And then the US embassy was giving out a grant. And I applied and I said, I've done this thing before. These are the number of people that have delivered their babies in this healthcare center. This is a case study. Also use case studies, right? Case study is
Mm.
that you pick one person that has benefited from your solution and follow the person through. Right. So I could pick
Okay.
one person who I was there when she had her baby in the healthcare center, and she took all her baby's immunizations at that healthcare center. So I showed her on day one of delivery and 9 months after she had taken her 9 months. And I said, doing this would make sure that mothers not only have access to delivering their babies, but that they can immunize their babies. These babies will grow up to become doctors, engineers, and all that, and contribute to national development, right? So you must have that value creation sorted out. So when I
Okay.
submitted to the US Embassy, I was selected, one of the people that were selected to be funded. Why? Now I had proof of concept. I don't think that if I hadn't done that as an NYSC project, that they would give me $10,000 to do it again. But because I
Mm.
had done it before and they could see impact, they could see, case studies, they could see value, they were able to support. So two things is that make sure that you have proof of concept. Except you're a core member, you might not really need proof of. That's why I say use core member. But if you're not, it will be difficult for any organization to support you if you have not shown proof of concept that you have done this thing before, right? Except maybe is also venture capitalist, or people who want to see the viability, who can see the viability of an idea probably through numbers, but they still require some track record to some extent for them to really go through with it. So that's how we've been able to raise funds. We always do the much we can do at a small scale, and then we go reach out to organizations to say, okay, we want to blow this thing up, and that's how we've been raising funds. Again, we've also worked with organizations that fall into our core values, our align with our core values, our goals, our objectives. So we make sure that they can see themselves in our project. We show them where they come in and how it's going to create value for them as well. So there must be what's the need for them, right? You must show them what's the need for them, right?
Mm.
We have also leveraged the scaling impact component, saying that we've done this before and we want to scale it. So these are some of the strategies that we have applied. As a business, we just turned 1 year this week. I'm yet to
Oh,
that as a
congratulations.
we just turned 1 year. The business was solely bankrolled by me and my husband.
Whoa, whoa,
We did
whoa,
that
whoa.
ourselves, right? But right now, with the information that I have, we can go for funding if we want to, because
Mm.
now we can show track record, we can show how much is coming in, we can show that this thing is working, and come in and fund us to scale. I actually have that put together, right? And I can use it to apply anywhere. We just turned one, so I have every information that I have to apply for any kind of funding I want to apply for now. So the same strategies that I applied to my nonprofit, I can apply the same strategies to raising funding for my business. Now that we are 1 year old, we have seen the gaps, we have seen the places, rooms where there are rooms for improvement. We have also seen where we did very well,
Mm.
so we can use all of those to, go for funding. Yeah.
Mm. Amazing, amazing story. Thank you so much. So
Mhm.
my next question is this: what are the hurdles you faced while you were starting? So this question is actually like well, let's say the three-part question. So
Mhm.
first of all, when you were starting,
Mhm.
okay, let's take this one after the other. So when you were starting, what were the challenges you faced for your nonprofit and for your um business?
Okay. So for my non-profit, I think my biggest hurdle was the insecurity challenge. Like we were working with very, very, very remote communities, very underserved communities. I will not
Mm.
tell you that I was not afraid. How many times when
Oh,
we traveling, I'm like, hey, God, what people and if people come and now.
oh my God.
So I think major one, well, even with the way things are now, we have stopped going into very remote communities, because really you have to be wise, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
we
yes.
started, we were going to very, very, very underserved communities that you would spend almost 1 hour. In fact, the community where we worked with the US Embassy. They stopped on the road. They said, Amarachi, I'm sorry, we don't have security to go beyond this point. We
Oh
have
my God. Are you serious?
yeah, real life story. They turned back to the
Whoa.
and they said, you know what, we have seen the effort that you put. They were supposed to, supervise and go what do they even call it again? Inspect, the
Mm.
project for them to release the second part of the funding. But when they saw the whole thing, they said, you know what, don't worry, we will give you the money. The next day the money was released sharply.
Whoa.
They saw that this was a real project, and the good thing was that when they turned back, we continued, right? We
Mm.
continued, we took pictures, sent them pictures same day to their email so they could see, what happened. So insecurity was one of them. What other challenge did we face? Funding wasn't really a challenge for me because I kind of knew, some of the things to do, but it's always a challenge sometimes, right? I think that when you're very clear on your vision, your mission, I've had good individuals that have supported our project. So I wouldn't really say funding has been, because me, by the time you tell me about your project, the way I will even be talking, hey God, you will be so
You were so convinced.
So in fact, one that really shocked me was I sent an email and the lady told me that, reading your email, I could feel. I said, "Ah, it's email. I was not even talking. No, it's email that I said. She said I could feel your passion. I could feel But the truth is that I'm really passionate about the work that I do. So even unconsciously,
Yes.
when I speak about it, you can tell. People can
Mm.
smell passion, especially very highly placed executives and all that. When they call you and they say you should talk, you better talk from a place of passion because they can tell, they can smell it,
Yes.
so they can tell their genuinity, right? So every
The
time
energy. And one thing about energy is transferable, so people will feel it.
it and you understand the problem, you must also outline the problem you are solving and the
Mm.
value that you're creating with your project, your non-profit, whatever, and also placing it in the context of not the bigger picture. I would always talk about how it all ties up to national development, right? So these are the strategies I apply every time I talk to somebody or write to somebody, and thankfully people have always responded positively. So I think our major okay, building a team too has always
Mm.
been a challenge for me personally, because I'm an introvert. I'm not a very
Spoken
what's the
person.
extroverted person. So
Yeah.
just like that, I'm an introvert. I can only work with two people at a time. I can't. Once it's more than two or three, my head is
It's
pinging.
draining.
So I had that challenge and I was literally doing most of the things myself, right? Until I became actually more exposed to systems and structures and delegation. That was how it started to work for me. Now I'm doing other things because some other people are taking care of it. We have up to 5 people in our team, which is a miracle because so yeah, team building was a challenge for me. Even up till now, I still do a lot of research on team building as well, just to be able to get it right. So I guess these were the core challenges that I had. With the nonprofit funding to some extent, the insecurity, also the community members sometimes can be very funny, right?
Mm.
They can be very demanding as well, very entitled set of people. Not it wasn't the same in all communities, but in different. So you do one for them, and they want to place 1,000 on you. They think that government gave you money from somewhere.
Money.
What are you? I'm not the road. This, that. Calm down. Nobody gave me money anyway. You
Oh
understand?
my God.
So also the community entry sometimes too. But we've also found a way around that as well. I think first of all, just coming in and just interacting with them basically and telling them from the onset, I'm a non-profit and I just want to do this for you, has worked. So yeah,
Mm.
when for the business, of course, it was money because it was basically personal funds all the way. My husband helped me, of course. He came in some places, and supported, okay, let's do this. Especially, I think the major challenge I had was when I wanted to put solar in the facility, right? And we kept thinking just solar alone was about 4 million, naira and all that. And I was like, hey, God, but somehow God came through.
Thank
We put
God.
so for the funding for the business it was just that. And right now we're also looking at expanding, and we're
Mm.
also looking at raising funds and basically reaching out to see how we can expand because it's growing, of course. So yeah, these are some of the major hurdles.
Okay, I think you wrapped everything up already. So let me just leave the hurdle part because I wanted to ask, like, I said the question was in three parts, is in three parts, like the starting out, what like the year you started out, like the one in between, years in between and currently. But I feel like you summed up everything together.
Mm,
So yeah, so let me just move to the next thing. The next question I want to ask, I feel like you've mentioned this while you
mm,
were speaking, but I think it's important that we outline this well somehow. Sorry, excuse me. So it will
sorry.
be so it will be a little bit structured so people can intentionally take note of them
Mm,
because it's like the core part of what this topic is all about.
mm,
So the thing is this, the question is this: what are the strategies you've employed to make
mm,
sure your businesses, or let me just say your enterprises, succeed
mhm,
regardless of the situation in Nigeria, like
mm,
whether economic or otherwise?
mhm.
How? What are the strategies you put in place? Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So for the strategies that we put in place, both for the nonprofit and for the business, we were very clear on the problem that we wanted to solve, right? The value that we were bringing into the space, into the sector, into the niche, into the industry. We were very clear on the problem. We were very clear on the value. I'll just list them out and maybe come back and explain them. So we're very
Mm,
clear on the problem that we wanted to solve, the value that we were generating or creating, right, in that sector, in that particular sector. So for the nonprofit, it was in the maternal newborn health space, and for the business, it was in the co-working space, right? So we were very clear on the problem and the value that we wanted to create. Next is that we were very clear on the people that we wanted to serve, right? Many times they have wanted to lump me up with maternal, 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 and I'm like, I don't do anything on maternal, right?
mm,
Everything I do is focused on the baby, the newborn. Remember that the challenge I had was not with pregnancy, it was with the baby, right?
mm,
You would see it, practically in everything that I do. That's why you will always find the founders' values in the core values of the company, because it was whatever that they went through that bettered whatever solution that they created. So I was very clear on the people that had the problem, and it was mothers, but around newborns, not for themselves and pregnancy, right? I was very clear on the people who were my beneficiaries for my business and for the nonprofit. So for the business, it was change makers, it was visionaries, it was innovators, it was anybody that was creating anything, freelancer, anybody that was working on their own, not attached to any company, or even if they were attached to any company, maybe an international organization or something, but they needed space. So I was very clear on who the people I wanted to serve were, right? And then I was very clear on the solution that I wanted to prefer and how I wanted to prefer that solution, right?
mm,
Very clear on that, very clear, both for the nonprofit, both for the business. For my business, I knew exactly what kind of space I wanted to create. I knew exactly the kind of space that because I understood the people I was creating for, I knew how I wanted to meet them, right? That's why we have complimentary coffee in my office as well. Because
mm,
I know that when you're working, you will always want sleep will come, distractions will come. Coffee just gives you that boost because I'm a coffee girl. Like I must take coffee. So I understand that every change maker wants to drink coffee. That's why we have complimentary coffee in my office. So I understood who I was solving the problem for, and I understood how I wanted to solve it. So also the same thing in my nonprofit, I understood how I wanted to come to them. So now I wanted to create a holistic approach that doesn't just say let's save newborns, but I wanted to also ensure that every newborn is created with an enriching environment that fosters their healthy brain development. It was a core delivery for me, right? It was something that I wanted to do for newborns, because for me it was the problem that I had to, if I deliver my baby, is she going to meet her milestones? Is she going to walk at the right time? Is she going to talk at the right time? You know, developmental stages. I wanted to be sure that she hits them. So I was focused on what I wanted to, how I wanted to serve my audience as a non-profit. I wanted to ensure that we were providing a holistic approach such that newborns are delivered, but that they also thrive. It also influences the name of my organization, right? If I want to break down, our organization is called Thriving Up Initiative. Now, in medical terms, if a newborn thrives, right? Excuse me, if a newborn thrives, it means that the baby is doing well physically, right? That's the baby is
Mm.
gaining weight, the baby is eating well, the baby, that is physical development.
Yeah.
But for me, because I wasn't just focused on the physical development, I also wanted to be sure that psychologically, mentally, this baby is doing well, right? Mentally, you are exposing the baby to scenarios and stimulations that boost their mental capacity, right? Because I also wanted an intelligent baby. So it was important to me. So that's how I called my organization Thriving Up. Thriving Up means that you are doing well physically and that you're also doing well mentally. That's how the name of my
So
organization came about, right? So I was clear on what I wanted to do. You understand the solution that I was preferring. So when I talk to people, I'm clear on what, we're not mincing words. We're very clear on what we want to do. So you must be clear on the solution that you want to offer. So these three things, the problem, the people, and the solution, I was clear on them for each of them. The next thing is that I had a strategic plan,
mm,
right? A strategic plan details what the vision of the organization is, right? What are you here for? And your vision should not even be more than 15 words, 20 words, really. You should tell me your vision and I would understand. If you see organizations like I think Facebook, Instagram, and all that that says connecting people, finish. That is the
mm.
vision. You see on social, and if you look at what they do, you would see it in their vision, simply connecting people, right? For us as a non-profit, it was ending preventable newborn deaths. A world where,
Amachi,
yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. I just quickly want to say something. Guys, please, I hope you're taking notes because my own notepad is almost filled up. Oh. I hope you people are taking notes because these are gems. These are
Hmm.
like pure gems. Guys, please take note. Oh. Please, Amara, continue. I'm listening.
Okay, so you must be clear on your vision. Your vision is one sentence outlining what you want to do, what you are here for, right? What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve in the non-profit space? What are you trying to achieve in the co-working space? What is it? Outlining it in 10 words for us, right? So for us, it is a world where newborns have an opportunity to survive and thrive. That's what we do as a non-profit. At the business, it is innovating for nations. We create a space where you innovate for nations. You solve global problems through our co-working space. That is it. So we cannot have people that are solving global problems in a batched space or something. So it
Mm.
influences also the solutions that we offer. So what is your vision? In 10 simple words, 15 words, 12 words, 13 words, what are you in this space to do? Right? We have our vision. And then a mission, this is a strategic plan now that shows you your vision, your mission, your objectives, you know, your values, your strategy, and your action plan. So your mission is simply how do you intend to achieve this vision? Now that you have told us you're here, you know, to end preventable newborn deaths, you are here to connect people. You are here to do this, do that. What is your mission? How are you going to now achieve that vision? So we also had a clear, and your vision just states how, literally summarizes how you're going to do it. So if I will use an example of our nonprofit, our vision is improving health. And now that we have said, okay, our vision is ending preventable newborn deaths, or you know, ensuring that newborns can survive and thrive. Our mission is simply improving health and development outcomes of newborns by strengthening healthcare in underserved communities, and educating expectant and nursing mothers. So everything we do, you will find them in these two things, right? So your mission simply just summarizes the whole thing, and shows how you are going to achieve that vision. And then your objectives is simply now breaking it down. What are the things that you're going to be doing now to ensure, you said you want to ensure newborn health and development. Now outline the things that you're going to do. So first of all, like I told you guys, we started educating expectant and nursing mothers. Then we started building healthcare centers. Then we started training health workers. So these are now your objectives. You are now literally breaking them down, right? Train health workers, educate expectant mothers, provide healthcare centers, donate neonatal care packs. Everything that you think can solve that problem are your objectives. That's what you're looking to do in that space, right? Next thing is your strategy, right? Basically, also breaking it down again. Okay, these are the things you want to do. How are you going to do them? Working with, stakeholders, working with partners, leveraging partnerships, leveraging funding. What's your strategy for doing that? And then your action plan is more of internal, right? Is on your own as a team. What are you people going to do? So we would have a digital sector in our team. We would have a partnership and strategy group. We would have, so these are the various things that we're going to do to ensure that we're able to. So we had a core strategic plan. A strategic plan shows you, has 6 elements, right? Your vision, your mission, your objectives, your strategy, your action plan. 5 elements: vision, mission, objective, strategy, action plan, right? If you are able to flesh out your ideas in this form, you will be unbeatable anywhere you are, any sector that you are, any industry, any niche. If you are able to tell us your vision, your mission, just outline that your idea, flesh it out in the vision, mission, objective, strategy, and action, you will be unbeatable, right? Your strategy also shows you how you are positioning to win in that sector. So in your strategy, what you would do is to say, where are the gaps? Who is already doing this and what are they not doing? How can I leverage on what they are not doing? Or where can I come in? Where do I have a strength? So when I came into the maternal and newborn health sector, I realized that nobody was talking about newborns. I couldn't even pick out an organization that was focused on newborns, right? And that's how I pitched my tent there, right? That was the value I was creating. That's why we were able, when we submit proposals, is unique, is a unique context. People are not really talking about it. So it's a unique place. So what is going to be your strategy? Simply outlines your winning, what's it called? Your advantage. What is your advantage, right? Your unique value proposition is in your strategy, right? Is saying this is where I'm going to, this is the thing that people are not doing that I'm going to do, right? We did it for a non-profit. I'm not going to tell you what we did for our business, but we had where we came in and hooked them and hooked them there. And so we had a strategy for our business as well. Do you understand? So you must have, what is that place? Your strategy is basically your entry, your advantage entry point. I will give you a very clear analogy of strategy. Is Big Brother Niger, right? If you see the person that won, she had a strategy. What her strategy was is she picked what her advantage was. She just looked at, all these people are older than me.
So that, yeah.
My advantage is that I am 22. I'm going to use it against all of them. Take it, like it or not, that was a key strategy that girl used, right? So you will ask yourself, what she had was her age that others did not have. And once you start to appeal to people that you're a younger person and this why, people will listen. That's, humans work by emotions.
Yeah.
Everybody functions by emotions. If you hook them on that emotions, you've won. So her strategy was her advantage. What do you have that others don't have? What are you bringing into that space that others don't have, others are not doing? So it will take a lot of research for you to find the gaps and fill it. Even if this is what they're doing, how are you going to do it differently? How are you? That's why I say that there's a new construct for economies and markets that is centered around people and their unique needs and wants, right? Picture the person that will be using this space. What do they really need this space to do for them? And
Mm.
how are other companies not doing that thing for them? Right? One of our core strategies is the coffee that we provide. We know that you want to drink coffee. We also know
Mm.
that not many co-working spaces provide free coffee like
Free
that.
coffee, yes. True.
Do you
Very
understand?
true.
So that's one strategy that we know you want to drink coffee. We're telling you, see it here, free. By the time, if you want to decide on which co-working space to go to, one thing that will influence your decision is the fact that, hi, if I go to this one, they will give me free coffee while
At
I'm working.
least
They
I shall drink coffee, sha.
get. So what is that thing? Picture your customer, picture that person, and ask yourself, what does this person want? I'm telling you, if you build anything around people, ideas serve people. Ideas serve people, the identities. It could also be, see what iPhone is doing. iPhone is simply serving your ego need. Your need for ego to say, I'm using iPhone.
The rest of us have been what to do without the artistic.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Picture this person and say, what does this person want? And how are other organizations not? So your strategy is simply your winning proposition.
Mm.
How are you going to stay in that business and they will not swallow you or they will not slap you out of the business? Right? So it's your winning. Look at this girl. She came in, she looked at everybody. All these people are older than me. Nobody is 20, nobody is my age here. Or even if this person is my age, I'm going to use it. And she used it. That strategy. Think about, if I enter this sector, how am I going to win? What is the thing that I have that others don't have? Your strategy is your winning advantage, is your advantage. Think of, it could be your personality. Your personality could be an advantage, just the way you interact with customers, just the way you give them an experience, right? Experiences
Mm.
are also how your ideas serve people, right? So just the experience that you give them in the way they interact with your product, from the first time they interact with your product up to they get what, the point where they get what they want. How is your idea serving them? How is it serving them? So if you think, it could be your personality, how nice you are, how friendly you are, how very patient you are. When I posted about my co-working space on social media, it trended on Twitter for a while.
On
Just one,
Twitter. Yes, 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 I remember.
right? I remember somebody asking me, because I posted the address there. They will come and see the address and ask, please, where's the address? I will answer. And that person will come, please, where's the address? I will answer. And I was just saying, it's okay, here is the address. I typed it, even other people were now telling people, please scroll up, you will see the address. Just, did I argue? I was answering them
No.
the address. Anybody that, so somebody came to the office and said, wow, that this is what he came, he wants to see this patient person that was answering everybody. If you ask for the address 20 times, I'll answer you 20 times.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Mm.
So those are the things that distinguishes you. Just that decision, just that tiny thing can influence somebody's decision to go with your own product rather than another person's own. So what is going to be you must have a strategy. You cannot enter there, cannot enter any market, any sector blindly. Even though you have your solution, what is your strategy to make sure that that solution continues to become people's preferred option?
Mm.
So if you're able to outline your vision, your mission, your objective, your strategy, your action, yeah, I guess that's it. So
I think this is a mini business class already, like business master class,
understand
right?
the problem, understand the solution, understand how the person that has the problem. It all revolves around people. If you can understand people and you meet their need, they will keep coming back. So the people, and then the solution, how you want to solve it for them, and then have a strategic plan that details your vision, your mission, your objectives, your strategy, and your action plan. This was what I did for both of my organizations that help us to keep thriving up until now.
Mm. Thank you so much. So I have two last questions. So the first one is, what is your advice to people who find it difficult to turn their ideas into business or anything they want it to be? Do you understand?
Mm. I think first of all is answer the question of the value that you're going to be bringing. By the time you understand that this is what this idea can do for people, it's not somebody that will tell you to go and find how you will launch it. The thing is
Mm,
that you don't sit down to question. You have this idea, but what is it going to do for people? If you can answer the question, what this idea is going to do for people, and you answer the people that is going to do it for, right? The people that are going to benefit from this idea if I eventually launch it, right? It will motivate you to go and do what you need to do. It's because most times we undermine the potentiality of our ideas. You don't understand that this idea can actually be big and solve a
mm,
real problem. But if you sit down and ask yourself, what problem would this idea solve? And you once you can detail that, even you will see that you need to do it. Right. So don't just be thinking of it of a thought or an idea. But if I want to define idea, there are balls of opportunities that have the potential to solve a specific problem for a specific group of people. If you can outline the specific problem it will solve and the people that it will solve them, even go a step further and say, where can I find these people? Only you
mm,
will see that you need to launch this idea. So sometimes it's undermining the potentiality of our ideas. You don't understand the value that you're creating. If you can define the value that that idea carries, right, it would help you. So two things I would say if you have an idea is to ask yourself, what problem can this idea solve? One. Two, who is it going to solve it for?
mm,
Just first of all, start with these two questions, and every other thing will fall under these two questions. Just at least sit down and take a pen and paper and just flesh it out small by saying what problem will it solve. Another way to even think of how your idea can solve a problem is to look at the 17 sustainable development goals and say, assuming I want to solve this problem, which of these goals will resonate more with this idea? Do you understand? So it could be in increasing economies, increasing whichever way you find it, right? You would find something that resonates with that idea, but you must first of all define the value. Once you define that value, even if it's not among the SDGs, but it can solve, maybe it's even an immediate problem that is just happening around you, right? Maybe you notice that people around you don't have light or something, and you notice that there's a solar power that when you went to China, you saw it. You say, what if we bring this thing and sell to people? That's a business idea. It's solving an immediate. So there are ideas have different potentials, right? Sometimes they can solve a temporary problem. Sometimes they can solve generational problems, right? Depending. The most important thing is that you can find a problem, that this idea will solve. Once you're
mm.
able to articulate the problem that it will solve and articulate who has that problem, then you go and do it. You find a way to do it.
Mm.
So don't just,
Absolutely.
what I would say is don't just leave your ideas as thoughts. Take it through the value creation process. Think about what the problem it will solve is. I'm very sure that by the time you start researching, it's not even somebody that will tell you to take this thing a step further.
Mm. Thank you so much for that. So, the very last question: what is your advice to people who are struggling to make their enterprises successful? So, it is one thing that um, you have an idea and you've been able to transition it into like a product or a service.
Mm.
Now, the thing is, how do you make it? People who are struggling to make it successful, what is your advice to them?
It will still come back to, are you meeting a need, right?
Mm,
Who is your customer first? There's no way you know your customer, you know the value you're generating for them, that you'll be out of. Maybe you say you need money to expand it or something. But even at that, they will generate the money. If you can find the people that need this problem, talk to them, ask them questions, right? One of the key things that we do at iThrive is when you leave, once you walk out, once you come, everybody that comes into iThrive, we ask you for a feedback. How can we serve you better? Right?
mm,
So once you understand how you can serve the person that has that problem, they will keep coming back and you can gradually generate money to expand it. So do you even know who your customer are? It's one thing that you created a fine value in your head, but people don't need it, right? You must understand who needs it, and innovate it such that it is meeting the need. It is meeting that person's needs, right? So you
Mm.
must find out, you must be very clear on who your beneficiary is. You must understand them. You must understand what their pain points are. If you need to talk to them, you go out and look for people that have that problem, interact with them, ask them what would somebody do that will really solve this problem for you. By the time you ask 10 people that, you have found what your solution should be. Just ask 10 people that have that problem and say, what can somebody do to solve this problem for you? Right? That way, that's why nowadays data is like important. Various organizations are collecting data and all that. They are just trying to find out what your problem is, what you are looking for. That's why the moment you type, you say, I need speaker, oh, Instagram starts giving you
Sending
advertisement.
you advert.
The moment you just open Instagram, you will see speakers all over the place. You say, God has answered my question. It's not God. They are listening to what your
Yeah.
problems are. Do you understand? They are listening. They are listening. If you can understand people's needs and wants and see how you can solve it, you would always continue to, you would. So I realized that co-working space was a problem. There was no co-working space in the whole of Cuba. And you think I will start one and people will not rush it. It was a problem. So if you find out what is the problem, and what would this person, what will you, what solution is this person looking for, hear from at least 10-15 people and then innovate your idea to solve those problems.
Mm.
That's it. So understand the people that need this. Don't just create value. I understand that you had the problem, right? But if you don't understand how you can innovate this problem to meet people's needs, do you get? You must understand how it will meet and continue to solve people's problems. So long as you're solving a problem, you will always be in business. Once you have discovered how, you must first of all discover how to solve it before you now come up with your own strategy that is now going to be different from what other people are doing. So it's
Yeah.
really about the people. People are in the center of markets. People are in the center of economies. That's why organizations are looking for how to hear people. They want to
Mm.
hear you. They are collecting your data here, left, right, center. They are looking for money because once you understand people's wants, their needs, their, wants, needs, unique identities, unique problems, and you're able to solve it, you will always be in business.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so so much, Amachi. Like I feel like this is just like a mini, would I call it a mini MBA or mini something? Like it's so enriching. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you
Yeah.
so so much. So guys, please, we have the link to, okay, so I just dropped the link to our feedback form. You can go to the chat. You will see the link to our feedback form, right? You see something I put there. My name is Julia, so you should be able to trace it there. Um, Please kindly click on that link. I don't know if it's clickable now. Someone should help me check. Okay, so Israel just dropped another one. Yeah, so you guys should just click on it or copy and paste on your browser. So we want to hear from you. We want to know how to improve this program, so that we'll continue to give you guys a value every single time you come on here. So I don't know, do we have people who have questions here so we can quickly take your questions before we call it a day? Please just raise your hand. Use the um raise icon. Just let us know. Let me know if you have questions. Oh, okay. Nicholas, do
Sorry,
you have
Juliet. Where,
questions?
yeah, I have
Okay,
a
okay,
question. My first
okay,
question is where can we find the icon to raise our hands? Because I'm trying
okay.
to look for it. It's not um I don't know. That's my
Okay.
first question. Now to my real question now. Juliet, sorry, answer that later. To my
Okay.
real question now. Amarashi, thank you so much. I I literally suspended everything I was doing and had to listen to this because I mean this is value. I mean this is value. Thank you so much, and
Honestly.
I really do appreciate this. You come back again. I don't know, Juliet. I don't know how you're going to do it because
It's funny that I was thinking about it that Nicholas was going to say this, but it's fine.
no. You come back again. Actually, so you come back again. So
Oh God.
my questions are this. First, is it possible for you to have an idea without first of all having a clear um, value or a clear customer you are targeting that value at? Like, um, can someone have an idea that is vague? The idea sounds wow, but is vague in terms of you don't have a clear value yet, but you know that this idea is worth pursuing, or this value is worth giving out. Is it possible? If there is a possibility for that, what do you think are some of the processes, like inexpensive, most likely free processes that one can take that vague idea through to come out with clear value propositions and customer segment? I don't know if my question is straightforward.
Yeah, but you've answered your question already because you said, what if you can have an idea that doesn't, have any clear value that it is generating, right? At the moment, right? And what you can
Yeah.
do to now create value with it or have a customer segment and
No. What you can do to refine that idea to make it
okay.
more to make it more clearer in terms of the value and the customer segment.
Okay. So, trying to make it very practical is, let's say you have the idea and you don't have a clear customer that you say, okay, this is person that will need this. Just think about anybody. Think about Juliet. What will make Juliet need this idea, or what will Juliet be looking for that will make her think of this idea? Right? So I have an idea to be lifting weights, right? How is this idea going to benefit anybody at all, even a newborn or even a child? How is this idea going to benefit anybody, right? If you cannot see that, yeah, then you can't go ahead to creating a customer segment. And there are ideas that can't really solve problems, right? It's just a nice. Okay, there are also various models that you can use to launch ideas. There's the impact model. Maybe this idea is just to make impact. You might not be able to earn money from doing this, right? But you can use it to impact somebody, right? Or you can now say, oh, there's an income aspect to it. I can actually make money from this. Or you can say influence. Influence is where you are now doing this and people are believing in it just because of you talking about it, constantly talking about it. They start to like how you're talking about it. They start following you. You can find this model with comedians. They're not really generating any value. They're just making you laugh, right? Or you can even call that a value that they're doing because people use it to relax. You can say this is what people gain from watching comedy, is that it releases tension, Nigerian tension from them. So it's a value they are getting from comedians, and those comedians are becoming influential just by doing that. So just think of what somebody can gain by interacting with that idea. That is the simplest way of thinking of any value that an idea can generate. Is simply, what will somebody gain, anybody at all gain, right? If you can answer that question, it now leads you to saying what type of people. Is it business people that will need this idea? Is it even young people that will need it? Is it old people that will need it? But first of all, you should be able to say what value, even if it's not making money, it doesn't look like it will make money at the time, but what will anybody be looking for, and this idea will be an answer to them. Basically, there are also ideas that generally are not here to solve problems, so you shouldn't take them further. right? Not every idea will solve a problem. That is the truth. That is fact. Not every idea will solve a challenge, right? So you can just use it as an influence model, such that you are just talking about it and using it to gain followers, or people just like the way you're talking about it, right? If you can't see a clear problem that it will solve. But for you to even go to customer segmentation, you must first of all understand the value. That way you can then decide who are the people that will be looking for that kind of value. Right. So first of all is what value? If you can answer that, value is simply what will people be looking for? If I want to talk about my non-profit now, is anybody who is looking for how to take care of their babies that will look for me? If I want to talk about the business, is anybody that is looking for where to sit down and work that will look for me? So what will somebody be looking for? And your idea will be an answer to that question, right? If you can find it, then you can now take it through the process. You can now decide, okay, is it an impact? Am I going to be doing it for free as impact, which is a non-profit model, or am I going to be charging them for it, which is a business model? That way it will now bring out your value proposition and your customer segments and all of that. But there are ideas too that must not solve a problem. You can just play around with them. I would say push them to influence generation. I hope that answered your question.
Hi, Nick. I hope it answered your question, right? Okay,
Oh, I
do
didn't
we
know I
have
was on
some?
mute. Sorry. I
Okay.
didn't know I was on mute. Thank you so much, Amarachi. I got that. So it's either income or impact or influence.
Exactly. Or
Thank
influence.
you. Mm, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Any other person?